Hey there, it's Jodi from 98.7 The Gator. Welcome to Gator Bites. And if you're looking for some great live music this weekend, look no further than the Lyric Theater in Stewart, because the band Firefall will be performing there on Sunday night. Their smooth rock sound has stood the test of time. They've had gold albums, platinum albums, and so many big chart-topping hits. So today, we get to talk with founding member and guitarist of Firefall. It's Jock Bartley. Hi, Jock. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Glad we got you. Great.
I'm great. It's good to see you. So you guys have a few Florida shows scheduled this week. I'm just interested to find out, when did you guys get back on the road, and how long were you off the road due to the whole pandemic shutdown?
Well, that's a good question. We ended up having to take a year and a half off, which was really tough, particularly on the salary guys. Me being leader of the band and stuff, I was doing okay, but it was really tough to take a year and a half off. And then in 2021, we started working again. And of course, everybody with a hit song, every band and every artist wanted to go out and start working, and everybody booked a lot of shows, and we found out it ended up a little too early.
Right.
And, they had to cancel a lot again, and it's still messed up. And of course, COVID's still lingering on. Some bands I know are working a lot, and some bands I know, like us, aren't working very much, but we're making another new album, which is great. So that's keeping us busy.
Oh, good. So you've been spending your available time wisely.
I hope.
So we know that you're original member of Firefall. You guys have been together for over 40 years. Is this true that you knew you wanted to be in a rock band after seeing the Beatles on TV the first time?
Well, yeah, but my story is different than others of the millions of teenagers that went, "Oh my God, I want to do that."
Right.
My mom was a musician, and when we moved to Colorado in 1960, I wanted to get a Sears airline guitar out of the Sears catalog for $59, with a little amp built into the case or something like that. And my mom, being a musician, knew that probably wasn't a very good instrument. And she heard about a really famous jazz guitar player named Johnny Smith, who had just dropped out of the New York jazz scene and moved to Colorado Springs with his new wife. And I became one of his first students when I was 9 years old. So by the time the Beatles hit in 1964, February 9th on Ed Sullivan's show, I already played guitar for 4 or 5 years. And so all of my friends were going, "God, I'd love to play music and be in a band." I was already ready. I could already play pretty good as a 13-year-old kid. And I basically stopped taking jazz guitar lessons after the Beatles because I couldn't relate to all the deep music theory that I was being taught. And I'm thinking, I'll never use this stuff. I want to be in a rock band. And, it was the Beatles, and then, of course, the British Invasion with the Stones and the Animals and the Hollies and the Kinks and all those great bands. And, I got in my first band not too long after that.
So I know that when Firefall did start touring, you guys went on tour with like all the heavy hitters, including Fleetwood Mac and Skynyrd. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I'm sure you have a ton of stories, but is there one that sticks out in your mind that, you'll just remember for as long as you live?
One story. I don't know, but the thing is that we hit it at the perfect time. Now, I have to say that when I was playing with Graham Parsons and Emmylou Harris and the Fallen Angels. Totally had fallen into that band in Boulder, Colorado. They needed a guitar player, and I got hired. And suddenly, 2 days after that or 3 days after that, we're playing in Houston, Texas, and onto our stage that we're playing at walks Neil Young and Linda Ronstadt. And
Wow.
and they played on the encore with us, and Neil invited us back to his hotel room. And Graham Parsons, when we get there, immediately grabs a guitar and starts playing 30 or 40 country songs. and Linda Ronstadt and Emmylou, who met that night and sang together for the first time that night, they were sitting near Graham with their faces very close together, harmonizing and putting their vocal blend together for the first time. And it was amazing. And it was one of the kind of historic moments of my really amazing career that I've been fortunate to have. But, when in New York City, I met Rick Roberts replaced Graham Parsons in the Flying Burrito Brothers.
Right.
And he and Chris Hillman kept it going after Graham left. And in fact, that night, Chris called Graham in LA saying, I think we found your, Rick Roberts went out and basically discovered Emmylou Harris in a little club in DC.
Oh,
and
boy.
He told Chris, come on down. And Chris was in bed. No, I don't want to come down. No, you have to come down. And so Chris goes down, and he calls Graham a little bit later and says, I think we found the girl you've been looking for. The singer, she's amazing. And sure enough, and the interesting thing about Firefall and so many bands, Firefall's not unique in this, but the intertwining nature of a lot of those bands and musicians and who you know and who you play with and who your girlfriend is or whatever was so intertwined. Here I was meeting Rick Roberts, who replaced Graham Parsons and I didn't even know at the time that Rick had 6 months earlier discovered Emmylou Harris, who I was now in a band with. And
oh my goodness.
And when I met Rick, we figured out, you live in Boulder, I live in Boulder, we should get together. And a couple of months after that tour, and after sadly Graham Parsons died, Rick and I got together in Boulder, and I thought I was going to be the lead guitar player on his third solo record on A&M Records. He wasn't in the Burrito Brothers anymore.
Right.
But when Mark Andes from Spirit and JoJo Gunn, who lived in Boulder now too, started rehearsing with us, it really felt like a band and not a solo record. And Rick, when it felt like a band, Rick said, I know this guy, Larry Burnett in Washington, D.C., who sings great, writes songs. He and I blend great together. You want to hear a song of his? And he pulled out a reel-to-reel tape thing and put it on his machine. And the first song of Larry's that Mark and I heard was Cinderella. And we all went, oh, my God, get him out here. And the point to this story is from the first week of rehearsal of the new band that would become Firefall, we didn't even have a name yet, of course. It was Mark Andes, myself as the players, me on lead guitar, Mark on bass, and two singer-songwriter guitar players, Rick and Larry. We had, from the first week of practice, 25 original songs of theirs to work out.
Wow.
And that's unheard of. And amazingly, about half of our first record, which came a year and a half later after we signed with Atlantic Records, those songs that we worked out in the first week, Mexico, Livin' Ain't Livin', Cinderella, we'd been playing those for about a year and a half. So Firefall was a pretty unique situation, and we had our sights set high, as soon as we started forming. And then Michael Clark got in the band, the drummer of the Byrds, and we got the record deal, and Chris Hillman was involved. And so the intertwining nature between the Byrds, the Buffalo Springfield, the Poco, Graham Parsons, and the interesting thing for me, I was a Boulder, Colorado guy, was about 72 or 73, a lot of the rock stars from Southern California moved to the mountains above Boulder, Colorado. Stephen Stills, Chris Hillman of the Byrds, Richie Fury from Buffalo Springfield, Carl Wilson from the Beach Boys, Joe Walsh, Dan Fogelberg. They all moved.
Right.
they moved into my hometown, and that's where, and Boulder was a really happening music place for about 4 or 5 years, and that's where Firefall kind of came out of.
So it was perfect time, perfect place type of meeting and of all you guys coming together.
And the perfect thing with all those songs, which led us, our album came out, and this has always surprised me. Our first Firefall album, the one with the comet, which I helped design, which in fact you can see my painting over my, that album on Atlantic Records went gold, 500,000 copies, quicker than any album Atlantic had ever had, which still surprises me because the Rolling Stones, the Young Rascals, Aretha, Led Zeppelin, it's like we went faster gold than Led Zeppelin did, and where this is all leading is because we had a hit record and the songs were so great, and there was AM radio that You Are the Woman was being played at, and FM radio that Mexico and Cinderella were being played at.
Right.
We got offered, the band tour, the last band tour with Robbie Robertson and Levon Helm. And we played with the Doobie Brothers with Michael McDonald new in the band. And we played with Lynyrd Skynyrd for about a year before the plane crash. And, the best gigs I think we ever played was we became Fleetwood Mac's opening band of choice for the White Album, their first album. And then when they went out and made Rumors, which was by far the biggest record in the world at that time, we went on the road with them with Rumors, and we're playing stadium shows 4 or 5 days a week, and it was just unbelievable, the timing and everything locked in, and went, hey, this is great.
I'm sure that was one of the biggest highlights of your career. I mean, going out on tour with Fleetwood Mac during Rumors Tour, their biggest album ever. Oh my goodness. But I want to talk about your music because while doing a little research for this interview, I discovered that You Are the Woman has had more than 7 million plays on commercial radio. So first, Jock, I want to tell you, I think personally I'm responsible for a few 100,000 of those 7 million plays.
Jodi,
because I've been doing this for a long time, and I've played your music my whole career.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Rick Roberts got rich on that song, and it's amazing when the guys in the band started leaving one at a time, and by about 1980, I realized that I was the only guy that didn't quit, and therefore became owner of the band. I knew that having songs that great, including the huge hit single "You Are the Woman," it was a no-brainer. Let's keep it going here, and it's so great to have "You Are the Woman" or "Just Remember I Love You," which are such great ballad love songs that really made a difference in a lot of people's lives. You don't know how many countless times I've been told, we got married to You Are the Woman, or Just Remember I Love You got me through the really terrible time in my life. And to hear people's stories about the music that we made of Rick and Larry's songs really made a difference in a lot of people's lives.
Well, I could tell you one of my personal stories, and my favorite song personally from Firefall is Strange Way. So I hadn't heard that song in a long time, and I went back yesterday, listened to the song, and it brought back all those memories, and it sounded as good as it ever did to me the first time I heard it, and I cranked it up at full volume. And are you guys still going to play that song when we see you Sunday night?
Well, of course we are.
Okay.
Now, when we go to Stewart, we're headlining, so I think we're playing two fairly long sets. So we're going to dip into some album cuts and stuff. But even when we play a short 35 or 40-minute set with four other bands on the bill, the 4 songs we have to play are You're the Woman, Just Remember I Love You, Cinderella, Strange Way, which was a huge hit. And Mexico too. And Strange Way, what's interesting is that that song, so the original keyboard sax flute guy in Firefall is David Muse from Clearwater. And David unfortunately is really ill now and can't perform, and
Sorry to hear that.
we're giving David some money for his medical fund, and it's just a shame that he's as sick as he is, and he's battling, to get his health back. But every night that Firefall plays, Strange Way gets the biggest standing ovation of anything we do. And it's the flute solo, David's flute solo on the end. We have a great flute sax player in the band now, Jim Waddell from Colorado, who's filling in for David when he's so ill. And we all wish David Muse in Clearwater, Florida, our best.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can't wait to see you guys. I know you have a few shows. Friday night in Jacksonville. You're at a great venue, the Florida Theater. Is
awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
And the first
Saturday.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was going to say Saturday night in Clearwater, and then for us in Stewart, Sunday night Lyric Theater.
Right. The first two gigs, Jacksonville and Clearwater, are with our friends in Orleans and Pure Prairie League.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah, so we get to play a 45-minute set of our hits and be done, and it's so great. That's the thing that's been so cool about the last 5 or 10 years for me and Firefall, is that we've gotten into these packages where, Ambrosia or Atlanta Rhythm Section, or the bigger ones, REO Speedwagon or America. We get to go play with bands that had just as many hits as us in the 70s, and the crowds just love being able to hear song after song after song from some of their favorite 70s bands.
I agree, and that's why I encourage everyone watching and listening to go out to the show Sunday night, because like I said in the beginning, your music has stood the test of time. It's songs that everyone knows all the words to and can sing along with, so it's always a fun time.
Yeah.
People can find out more. Your website is firefallofficial.com. The show this Sunday night, it's July 24th, Lyric Theater in Stewart, and Jock Bartley, original founding member of Firefall. Thanks for talking with us today.
Hey, I'm glad we got this working. And just for everybody who doesn't know, Firefall put a new album out during the pandemic that we've been working on for 3 or 4 years. And when we were about to put it out, the pandemic hits and our manager says, well, we should wait. I'm glad that we didn't wait, and we put it out in December of 2019. It's called Comet. Really good songs, and we're working on another album that'll be out probably in the fall or winter, and it's great to still be doing this, and we thank you, Jodi, and radio stations all across the country for still playing our stuff, and the songs do still sound great.
They do, and you stay safe on the road. It's been great meeting you, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.